Okay, I think we are live in this latest episode of This Week in Testing. It is an episode 91. And welcome everybody who is listening right now online or who is listening the recording of this podcast. And um, yeah, my name is Oleksandr, and here with me is beautiful Demi. Hi, Demi.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're all having a good day. It is currently very sunny where I am, so it always helps to improve the mood. But yeah, I hope you're having a good day, that you had a good week in testing. Yeah, there's so much happening, both with just me and in like the community. It's so cool to see everyone keeping busy. Uh, so
Yes, yes. And before we'll start, let me just remind you that this week in testing is an official Ministry of Testing event. So please follow the code of conduct and be respectful to everyone. And information about code of conduct you can find in ministryoftesting.com. On the main page, you can scroll to the bottom and find the link. And for those who are uh, only like the first time joiners to this type of event, we will start with Demi with just news and updates in the first part of this call. And the biggest part is we are going to hear you on what's happening in your testing life for this week. So let's start, Demi. And what is in your weekend testing?
Oh, in my weekend testing, it has been absolutely buzzing. I've had some meetings this week because we're gonna start front end test automation this summer, which is very exciting, but also very nervous because it's been a while since I've done any kind of coding. So let's hope it all works out. And yeah, I've been writing a lot of documentation this week because as a tester, you know a lot about the systems that you work with, but the rest of the team has like only bits and pieces of the knowledge, or maybe they're new team members. So I'm writing down all kinds of documentation about our applications so that the rest of the team has the same amount of information as me, which is apparently a lot, as I've been doing it all week. Um, and yeah, I'm also doing the final editing on my very first article. So I'm very excited to publish an article on the MOT website soon. So hopefully, it is for next month, I think. So I'm hoping it will be done soon, because it's also very nervous to be like waiting for the articles to come out or for it to be finished and stuff like that. How was your personal week in testing, Alexander? What did you do?
Oh, yeah, I did most of my week was dedicated to different kind of performance benchmarking for our application. It was really interesting, and I think that's the thing that I never did before, like in deep. But right now, I know a lot more about what is performance and how to evaluate it, and then the rest is just learning, continue to learn another programming language that I'm just dedicating all my time. It's The language is Rust, and yeah, I'm trying to practice as much as I can, including some coding challenges. And I think that's one of the interesting part on learning something. It's to put it into practice as fast as you can. That's the main idea. And regarding the documentation, I also really like support Udemy that documentation is a very vital part of our work and of the whole teamwork, because without documentation at some point of time you can lost a portion of useful information, and documentation can help with keeping the bits of knowledge inside your team and sharing it. Basically, with documentation we can share our brain to others. and that's why documentation is very, very important. And what about the updates and use in the community? Do you know something, or
Oh
maybe
well,
you
there
found
are
something?
of course so many meetups happening. I always lose track of how many events are happening at the same time, but I often see them post like, "Oh, today there are three different meetups happening all around the world." I'm like, "What is going on everywhere?" Uh, but I also saw just today, I believe, a new article coming out from Ujwal, and Ujwal is in the audience, so maybe he would like to come tell us about it, how he um, stopped testing software like a machine, so he didn't do it on autopilot anymore, but really became aware of like, what am I testing, why am I testing it, what is important. So it was a very cool article to read. Um, and in the club, there's all kinds of posts happening as well. I know that there is a post from Cassandra who is asking some help to get ideas for a test bash talk. So anyone who would like to help her prepare as well, she wants to know more about what's making you stop making your achievements and work more visible. So if you have any ideas on that, come share here or share it on the club or something. She would really like the input to prepare for test bash. Um, so, and speaking about test bash, I saw that they also send out a mail with all the learning objectives of the different talks and workshops, which is also very cool to know what you're gonna learn. And they made a special notebook, an MOT notebook, for all your notes during test bash, which I think is incredibly useful. Um, so, as you can see, there's so much happening everywhere. I'm sure I missed a ton, but yeah, maybe the audience can join us and tell us what all has been happening because I'm sure there is so much more that happens in this week in testing.
Yes, so I can only offer our beautiful audience to just raise your hand, and we will put you on stage and you can share your thoughts or your insights on this weekend testing. So, or you can ask a question. Maybe you're faced with some challenge during your work, and maybe you are only a single test engineer in your team. So you should not feel lonely, and you can always rely on MOT community, and you can ask. So please raise your hand, and we will check if you can be on the stage. So um, you can do it by just clicking on the hand button. I think that's the main uh, thing how we can do it. Yeah, and just in chat, Simon shared that if you are on mobile app, yeah, so um, you can also um, post in the chat if you'd like to appear on the stage. So, and we will put you on stage. And yeah, beside that, I want to also mention the other few other threads on Ministry of Testing forum. Um, Simon posted an interesting question about how we are taking notes at conferences and meetups. That's very important thing because one thing is just to listen to the talk, and the second is just make notes, or because as far as I know, it is even scientifically proven that you are learning better, way better, or and you retain information better. So if you have some tips and tricks on how to make your notes, you can share it in the threads in the Minister Testing Club. Um, Demi, do you know something else about the events?
Well,
Or
I was going through the chats happening here,
uh-huh.
and I believe there are a couple of more meetups happening. I see
Mhm.
some people asking if it is nearby, so they can maybe travel to a meetup. So some more meetup tourists, it seems, which is also
Mhm.
fun. I see the meetup of where was it? AD shares the meetup in Leeds next Thursday is also happening.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what else. Oh, we have a question in the chat from John. John can't join us on stage, but he would like to learn Java in 5 days, which seems to me is quite a challenge. But he has an interview for his dream company in 5 days, and they want him to take a Java-based test. So if anyone has tips for him, share in the chat or come on stage and explain us like what is the best way to do a crash course in Java. I would, I think a lot of people would love to know.
And we have even answers also in the chat. So 80 and Adam just shared that one of the things that like you can start learning Java is Automation University. It's like it contains a lot of free courses on different languages, and yeah, we have also on MOT some courses like Intro to Java. And from my perspective, I would, yeah, I can recommend. Um, there is a book on O'Reilly publisher. It's called Head First Java, and this is like the book for any beginner in any programming language. And if you have not written any line of code before, this is like a very nice book to start because it tries to explain programming concepts, but in a very approachable and in a very visual way. So it's really nice book. And if you prefer books to courses, but yeah, on Test Automation University, for example, you can have not even one course but a path, like a combination of courses. um, yeah, and just practice when you are learning. Try to build some simple command line application, and um, just try to um, do it once, twice, and actually another question is, if you are preparing to the interview, you might be asked to solve some coding question. So you might check some websites like HackerRank or LeetCode to find those challenges and to practice. They are very useful. And also, as Simon just shared in the chat, thanks a lot, Simon, that there are also automation certificates that were prepared by Mark Winteringham on the MOT certifications page. So yeah, it's also a good thing to try. Yeah, so I don't know whether it is possible um, learn Java from scratch in 5 days, but at least get some brief knowledge. It is possible. Totally, totally possible. And maybe you have your own advice or insight on how to learn new languages for automation or for your purposes. You can raise your hand and we will put you on stage. Just do not forget that you have these opportunity as well. Or you, if you want to just chat about testing, please welcome to join. Okay, and yeah, Demi, what about you? What are you using for automation?
Well, they have decided company wide that any new front end test automation projects that start need to use Playwright. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm using that. But for some reason, they decided that we would need to use Playwright's Java based instead of TypeScript based, which I heard a lot of people sigh about. So I take it that makes it more difficult. Uh, but
Hmm.
yeah, no. Yesterday we had a tester community session in the company where one of the senior test automators showed us some very basic tests and how you could get started and how to organize your repository, which was very nice. But then, of course, I came with all the questions that he was like, "Well, that's a tricky one, Demi," and I immediately knew that's when I start automating our application, I'm gonna have all the special cases. But yeah,
Uh,
everyone currently
mhm.
here, we would love for you to join us on stage, share your stories on test automation or on testing or something else you did this week. Give give me some advice on how to start test automation. I would love the advice. I'm already getting nervous just by the answers of the senior test automator yesterday. Um, so raise your hands, say something in the chat if you want to join and you are unable to find the raise hand button somewhere. Um, we would love to have you on stage. We're getting a bit lonely.
And we have Judy who wants to join the stage. And let's, yeah, okay, to the stage. Hi, Judy.
Hello. How are you all?
Oh, hello, hello. We can hear you well.
Cool.
How is your weekend testing?
It was it was good. I I'm realizing that a big part of my job now is more of a quality coach role. Like it's oh, I'm trying to find the right word. I'm sorry. I'm still waking up today. Um, but it's changed a lot since I started. And there's been, at first, it was a lot of automation, which, Demi, I would love to offer what I can in regards to that. But a lot of automation. And then it was switching to the teams and helping test projects. And now it's teaching the developers how to write automation. And that is something, I mean, I've worked with other QA team members. So uh, that has been I mean, that's experience I already have, but um, yeah, guiding developers, that feels like a little bit more scary, only in the fact of I I think there's just a different mindset entirely about how developers approach their work and testers approach their work and how to cross that bridge. Um, but that's been my general week. So, um, Demi,
Yeah, that
yeah, go
good.
ahead.
Yeah, that's really really good. And yeah, quality coaching is, I think it's way more difficult than just writing test code.
Mhm. Yeah.
I know that in my team, the developers they do some automated tests for the things that are purely backend. So that I also don't see what they do there. I test it. I know what happens in the database, but you know they write the test for that. But I help them come up with the baseline for it and the first few scenarios. So I
Mhm.
told them like, okay, this is what I want you to test, what the results are I want you to check. And then they made a test for that. And then I know enough coding to read the test. So sometimes some of those developers come to me and I help them debug their tests, which I'm always surprised that I'm able to do that, but I can follow the logic. So uh, I
Hmm.
get, yeah, they have a different way of thinking about it. But
Yes.
the funniest story I heard about that is that at one point one of the developers was making the automated tests for things the other developers were still working on, and he made the tests before they were finished. So then they had to do test-driven development because now they had to make sure their code worked according to the tests I gave the guy that made the automation tests, which I thought was very funny. But hey, their code worked perfectly after that, so I was very happy.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, but I believe everyone suddenly shut awake, and we have 4 people who would like to come on stage. So maybe we should get some more people on stage to join in this discussion. Oleksandr, who do you think we should get first?
Yeah. So let's start and put people at the sequence of their hands raised. So let's start. Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Perfect.
Hello.
My name is Lukas. I'm I've joined of test for the first year with Ina. That was very informative. I wanted to do. I'm very new actually. I'm looking for my first entry job, and I've started doing say line test for an open
Just a second. It appears that the audio is not coming through very well. Can you maybe try a different microphone or something? Because no one can understand. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Let me.
It's just really not stable signal from the microphone, unfortunately. So you can try either another microphone or
maybe I have to put work. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, now it's much better.
Yes.
Okay, I will stick to the phone. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm looking for my first entry position in testing, and I'm doing some bug triaging for an open source project. And I'm right now planning on doing like some real testing on my own, because the community still doesn't do like very much of user testing. So I'm trying to find an idea on how to get started on a with some functional like black box user tests on a software that I don't really know that well yet, and I'm still looking for some ideas on how to get started there up the best, so I can get into learning by doing quickly.
Oh well, just so you know, we actually have a monthly event with Ben Doan, who does software testing live. The event is called, and every month he has another tester joining him, and they're just like testing a website on the spot with no preparation. I think you can find the recording somewhere on the Ministry of Testing website. If someone can help me find the link, maybe. I think you can get some inspiration from there, and you can sign up for the next software testing live as well. I believe Ben is currently preparing it, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a message appearing somewhere about it. So yeah, I'll see if I can find the link, and then we'll send it in the chat so you can have a look. But there is some live testing going on, and all the sessions are recorded and everything, so you can go watch them again.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds exactly like the thing that I've been looking for. I think I've read about it in some newsletters already, but yeah, I will definitely check that out. Thanks you.
Yeah, Simon dropped it in the chat, so go have a look.
Yes.
Thank you a lot. Yes. I will try to paste my profile later too. I'm just on my phone right now because I'm debugging my PC physically right now.
Whoa. That's really Judy.
Yeah, Lukas, I don't know if you are part of the Ministry of Testing Club, but there's a lot of conversations about just blogs and podcasts that you can follow. those have been a great, and we have a lot of content creators in the testing community, especially in the club that I've found. So I don't know if you're a part of that community, but yeah, so many
Yeah,
smart people with great
I just
perspectives.
registered this week. After the meetup, I immediately registered. I have to take a look in there. Thank you.
Yeah, and like one thing is first is to check the software testing live, and the second thing is just if you need to test some piece of software that you are not familiar or you don't have any documentation or requirements or whatever, like the great thing is just to use it. Try to use it on your own, like, and try to apply your general like user knowledge on whether it is, for example, if it is mobile application or web application, compare it in your mind with some similar applications. For example, if you know that there is a login page, just try to understand how this system under test differs from like regular login pages on different websites or on mobile phones. And it's one, it is like the question, I think the question of testing oracles, the things that we are like considering when we are starting to test, like how we can decide whether test is either passed and failed. And one of the oracle is just your experience with anything related to technology. So try with it. And if you are testing some software like open source software, you can even put into your will file a bug. You can put even an example. So, for example, if you are if you have your like comparable product or your competitor, and here is how it works in the competitor, and here is how it can work in the application of the test. So it's like a suggestion. So it might not be a bug, but it's like a suggestion for improvement. So that's how to deal with when you don't have any requirements or you have a completely black box with only just a few buttons.
All
yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, lad.
Good. Yeah, thank you too. And we have also Gary who wants to talk. So let me put him on stage as well. Hi, Gary.
Well, I did see your message in the chat that you are unable to raise your hand but want to join as well. So we'll be getting you on stage next, I promise.
Yes, sure.
But first, hey Gary, welcome to This Week in Testing. How's your week been?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Just is my camera on? If I turn, how do I turn the camera off?
Yeah, you can turn off the camera. That's totally how we are.
I think it's off. Anyway,
it's
yeah.
Black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah. Happy Friday, everyone. I think my week in testing. I think the one standout thing this week is I kind of chaired a quality gate for a release, and it's the first time in a long time I had to sort of call out a no-go decision on it. And normally, it's just basically the quality gates are 15 minutes. People just, all the stakeholders in there just confirming what they should already know. And so my ultimate goal with all the quality gates is that we don't need one. But unfortunately, that's still not the case. But yeah, there was when we were doing the testing, everything was going well, and then there was one extra feature that was snuck in, and it was snuck in not very well. So it was one of these things that we found just before the session that we were going to have with everyone. So we had that, and then we just went, okay, this shouldn't go out. So yeah, so that was good. It did its job to stop bad software going out. So then we had some more decisions to make on that. But the interesting thing that came out because one of the key things is that I try and market the team, and so that the organization knows more about QA and what we do. And from the sort of customer and the support, the customer facing side, they usually in these kind of meetings just trust what we say. So even though we can give them, say, this is the coverage of what we've tested, they'll go, yeah, we believe you. But when we was looking into this extra feature, there was a new guy that came in to the customer section. He's the first person that I asked, could I see your test cases? And whilst that is, I thought that's brilliant. I'd love that. Yeah. It's also slightly terrifying, but it's like yes, let's do this. And so when we have our kind of next team meeting, we're going to talk through that to say, okay, what's the best way we can do to share this, to share our test cases with, because the customers are going to support these features. So it is good for them to know how we've tested it, what we've looked at, so they can actually see, well, this is what we need to support, and this is what we haven't looked at. So yeah, we're going to try and make that a habit that we do whenever we're testing. We try and open up what people see, and it'll also advertise what the test team do as well. So that was kind of the big highlight of my week. I think on just moving on to the test automation side, I used to be a test automator. For those that can remember the wonderful HP tools, and but I've obviously been in management for a bit, so I understand it. I did then need to get back into the automation, so I did start briefly a few years ago getting into Python and a Selenium framework, and was doing okay with it, but then the team expanded, more people coming, and then I had to hand it off to someone else. But we're now at a point where I need to do it again, or I need to be more involved. And the first thing I did to get myself, because I had kind of lost confidence in my coding ability, to be frank, and I thought, well, I need to conquer this. So the first thing I started to do is I said, okay, well, I'm going to add myself to the code review process. So whenever you're submitting any code for testing, I'm going to see if I can understand it, read it, suggest any improvements. And that has slowly been bringing my confidence back to say, I really do understand this. So I don't feel it's so alien to me as I thought it would be. So so I think for like getting yourself back into it, that may be one of the kind of first steps you can do. So
yeah, it's really like eye-opening story. I think the ability to have an ability to show your test cases to the customer, it's really a good thing. And ideally, you should be prepared to share the tests to any customer. Of course, it will be nice if the customer not just look at the cases, but provide some insightful or valuable feedback on the quality of the test, or maybe some missing edge cases. But yeah, if the customer requests such thing, it might be a good sign.
Yeah.
But it also, I know a few stories, even from my experience, that customer can, or even not the customer, some high-level management may request your tests on how are you testing. We don't know, or we don't understand how you are testing. You are providing this information, and then nothing happens. So there is no feedback loop at all. You don't know whether it's good, you don't know whether it's bad, and in most cases, like many people, especially like beginner testers or beginner QA leads, consider an absence of feedback from customers or from stakeholders as a indication of bad test cases.
Yeah.
And the only thing is just ask for a feedback. Especially if it's your own stakeholders, if it's good, bad, or something, because people when you are when people requesting such information, they want to know something, and you just can ask whether you like satisfied with the information, you found out the thing that you wanted or not. And in that case, it would be like good for the whole team.
Yeah, and I think like I say, for us, we're not necessarily sharing them direct with the customer, although I do have a story about that myself. But we're sharing them with the sort of customer success teams, our own customer success teams and our support teams. So getting them involved, because it's really a good also, those teams are really useful to sort of bring into testing anyway, because they know all the they've got the real customer insight is sort of how your product's actually used. So they're really useful people. If you can get them up to speed testing, then they're really awesome. And I think the one story I had on that was, I remember we did actually have a product that we shipped to a customer, and they were going to do a UAT, and as part of that UAT, they wanted to see our test cases that we used. So we gave them a full report of all of our test cases that we used to tick that box, and all those test cases passed from our perspective. And they said, well, we're going to use those. And of course, we're like, well, carry on then, because we know they've passed. So I think that's one thing that we've found is that, well, from my experience, is that whenever we have a customer that's doing UAT, I've rarely seen a customer actually come up with their own sort of plan for like how they're going to use acceptance test any kind of products. They usually like look to us for help, and we give them what we've tested, and they'll go, okay, we'll use that, and just copy it. So yeah, so that's a strange thing that happens as well.
Yes, and that's one thing that I want to add. This is like the thing when we as testers should be able to communicate at the language that customer understands, because many customers can't understand or don't want to understand the feature in terms of test cases, but they understand features in terms of user journeys or the features or capabilities of the product that they can or can't do. So that's the thing that we can provide. So here is not our tests, but here is the features or capabilities that we checked. Is it enough, or maybe customer have more more ideas on how they used it on a daily basis? That's very, very important to think about.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Demi, have you ever faced like the communication with the customer and testing with the customer?
It's a bit more difficult where I work, because I work for a government institution. So our customers are really like the agents that use it and like know the laws. So that makes it a bit different, because our clients, we usually call them the business, and the business knows all the laws and what it needs to conform to, and then we try to make an application that works within those bounds, that provides all the feedback. So it's a bit different. But I did at some point do like demos, just me giving a demo to some specific like team leads and agents, and they used that demo to write their manuals for all the other people. And based on that, they were like, oh, and can you do this, and can you do this? And I learned how they would use the application, because I was showing to them like all the options the application had, and they were asking me specific questions on how they use it so they could include it in their manuals, which was a cool way to see how people would use it eventually. But yeah.
Yes, and I think another thing or similar thing that I faced with my experience is when you have a totally new product or a new piece of product, and you just bring your customers into the room, give them a new version of the product, and you ask them to just manipulate with it, play with it. And you are observing the customers, and you try to understand their patterns of usage. So that's also can be very, very insightful in terms of getting information or ideas on how to test. Because we as testers, we have our, let's call it like way of thinking, as we are sometimes comparing ourselves with developers or with those who write the code. So the same is with like customers or domain experts. But from another point of view, we need maybe to know also domain. What do you think? Should we know your domain well, or it is out of our responsibility?
Yes, definitely. As the people in the chat are discussing away, it's very fun to see. It's just unfortunate that the people who watch the recording won't be able to see it, but you're hearing all kinds of articles coming up, or recordings coming up, or articles that all are already there. And apparently Emily has at some point shared a memory that was, you are not your customers. It is very important to remember how you use it is very different from how your customers use it. So because of that, and I know in my case, we have very specific kinds of data that can come in, specific users. We asked our business, like, can you come up with examples of data that can come in, because we can make up whatever we want. We don't know how actual businesses will submit information to us and stuff like that. So we could have a bit more realistic test cases and stuff like that. But yeah, it's lots of fun to see the chat going on. They're having lots of jokes. But maybe we can get another person on stage to join in the conversation, or maybe start a new conversation. So I believe, Ujwal, that you dropped a message saying you wanted to join. So if that is still true, maybe quickly say something else in the chat. And otherwise, I also believe, I think I see Milan also raised his hand, but it is in a very weird way where we are not sure if you are online or not. So if you could also drop a message in the chat, then we can get you guys on stage as well.
Yeah, and we also can observe. Okay, yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah,
find him. Yeah, he's in the list of the registered people that aren't online, so it's very weird.
yeah. I just wanted to share that it is really interesting how this crowdcast works in terms of notifications. Yeah. Hi, Milan. Are you with us? Can you hear us?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome to This Week in Testing. How's your week been?
Not too bad. So I'm currently seeking a new role from a couple of weeks, and I would appreciate anyone's support to get a new role. Unfortunately, I haven't received any interview calls in last couple of weeks. I have over 13 years of experience in both automation and manual testing. So I'm currently brushing my skill set on Playwright. Earlier, I did it with Cucumber. Now I'm just trying to do it with normal Playwright test and exploring how it will work with CI/CD pipeline integration and exploring more stuff. So apart from that, continuing to your conversation about the UAT, most of the cases in my last organization where I worked in, is sort of we get a demo from sprint demo from the devs, and then from a product owner perspective or a BA perspective or even a stakeholder perspective, post the demo happens, it was like they were reaching to the QA in order to have a better understanding of the application from a UAT perspective in case of any queries, like, okay, how the flow should be like, or um, whether it's a bug or not, whether it's, I mean, rather, I believe it's more from a product owner perspective. It's because their product, they should have an understanding, okay, this is the expected behavior and there is a misalignment on that. But rather, they were reaching out to QA to get an understanding, okay, whether it's working fine or not. And apart from that, about the documentation, to get a, Alexander, I believe you were discussing about the documents, and to get a follow up or go ahead from the stakeholders and product owners and even the project managers, whether they're okay with it, or to get um, any feedback on that, so that we can get back to them with the um, updated documents or the relevant information they might be seeking for. A few of the times it does happen wherein we get a feedback from the product owner or the BA, but it depends mostly, I believe, on the timeline as well. Sometimes it's just part of process wherein, okay, you create a test plan, test strategy, get a go ahead from everyone, and then get a sign off on that.
Yes, it's totally true that if you are creating something, either the documentation or the automation test, the like the importance of feedback is really crucial, because without it, we just don't know whether we are doing good or bad, whether we are moving in the right direction or a wrong direction, and the like the it is very like especially for me, it's very I can say that it's bad, but it's demotivating when you are creating a really nice piece of documentation. You put all your tips and tricks that you found out for months or for even years from dealing with product, and then you don't have any feedback at all. So that's really
Yes, yes.
um, yeah, that's
I mean,
not
it's all,
so motivating.
yeah, it's very much appreciated. I mean, if negative, positive, any sort of feedback you get, you get to know, okay, this has been your work has been reviewed and someone had a look at it, rather than just being a part of a process. Okay, it's just there. So from that side as well, we get to learn from others' perspective as well. If you can incorporate something new apart from your knowledge, otherwise it's just exploring on your own and you write your things from your own perspective.
Yes, and the thing is, when you are writing and sharing it, you can make your documents and your um, knowledge shareable with others, and you can like, because basically, even if you are inside a team of testers and you are like using some tools, you can use those tools differently, even the same tools, because um, every person is a unique, and every person background is unique. So that's why it is really nice to share. Even if you, for example, created a script, useful script for you, you can share it with your team members. Maybe somebody is doing a lot of manual work, and your script will help them with, let's say, automating their flow. I'm not talking about just automated tests, but any kind of automation, automating in creating data, or in like configuring some environment or whatever. Anything. And please share with your team members, and you can share even with the community, and community will be glad to see your inputs on using some tools and your own techniques.
Certainly, yes.
Yeah, I think we are on almost on a fine line with today's episodes. So, Demi, do you have some main points or last words on about what we have talked today, or Judy, Gary?
Well, just to share in the chat, they've dropped some more tips and links. Like Judy actually shared that Playwright has a Discord that you can join if you run into issues, which I didn't know. Like you can ask the people of Playwright themselves if you have issues, and it's so cool. And John is sharing an job opening. So if anyone is looking for a job, go look at that. They're looking for testing engineer teams. And Simon shared another cool article or something, it seems, from Butch, who also wrote something on Playwright. And other than that, it's people that already have to sign off. So to those people that are missing the end, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Anyone else have some closing statements or fun things to end the episode with? Maybe a win or something to celebrate with us would be fun to end this episode, I believe.
I can just say that I think someone had put it in the chat already, but I was a guest on the Test Guild podcast, and I've never been on a podcast before as a guest, so that was really exciting. Very scary, but Joe was a wonderful host and made it easy to be a part of. So that was really awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah. This officially counts also as a podcast, so you have been on 2 podcasts.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually thought about that. I was like, well, the first podcast that I was a part of was MOT, so I need. Yeah. So I appreciate being willing to join these events. They're so helpful.
Yeah, and we have Susanne that wants to join the stage for final words. So, yeah, let's. Hi,
Awesome.
hey, Susanne.
Oh, how do I turn off my camera?
You can click.
go?
Yeah,
Yes,
here.
yes,
Good.
Hi, Susanne. You are on for
Yes.
the final words for this episode. What
Yeah.
do you have for us?
So this is maybe a little silly, but I've been out of work for a few months now, intentionally taking time to reset between roles, but I haven't had like a community of testing folks to like listen to and I guess talk shop with. So it's just really nice to be able to join this and connect with other professionals, and a very, very small win and not on the job necessarily, but I just wanted to say thanks.
Oh,
And-
that is so cool. Thanks for joining us. We love to have you here and to join in our conversations. I think the community, we have so many events, but this week in testing happens every week. So you are more than welcome to join us again next week and share what you learned, what you have questions about, or to hear of the rest of the community. As you can see in the chat, they are all welcoming you because they're so glad that you joined us here on This Week in Testing.
Yes, and thank you all who has talked today on stage and in chat. You are a wonderful community, and I wish you a great weekend and great upcoming week, and see you at the next episode of This Week in Testing.